Ray Kroc is another good example of someone who made his dream come true. Kroc was a salesman of milkshake mixers. Most of his customers, restaurants and diners, purchased one or two units. When he received an order for 8 mixers for a small food outlet in San Bernardino, California, he decided to visit them and see how he could sell so many shakes. It was the busiest restaurant he had ever seen. The owners, McDonald's brothers, offered a very limited menu: hamburgers, cheeseburgers, french fries, shakes, and soft drinks, all at the lowest prices in the area. Kroc saw an opportunity. If he could open a chain of these restaurants, each as productive and profitable as this one, money would flow in. He proposed the idea to the McDonald's brothers and agreed to implement it within a few years. McDonald's not only became the top-selling food outlet in the country, but created the fast food industry. Kroc later bought out the McDonald's brothers and expanded the business into the international phenomenon, making him one of the richest men of his time. The world is filled with abundance of opportunity, which the dreamers of the past never knew. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point for which the dreamer must take off. Dreamers are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. The world no longer scoffs at dreamers, nor calls them impractical. Remember, too, that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreak struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at the moment of some crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. John Bunyan wrote The Pilgrim's Progress after he had been confined in prison and sorely punished because of his religious views. O. Henry discovered the genius that slept within his brain after he met with great misfortune and was confined in a prison cell in Columbus, Ohio, being forced through misfortune to become acquainted with his other self and to use his imagination. He discovered himself to be a great author instead of a miserable criminal and outcast. Strange and varied are the ways of life, and stranger still are the ways of infinite intelligence, through which people are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before discovering their own brains and their own capacity to create useful ideas through imagination. Edison, the world's greatest inventor and scientist, was a part-time telegraph operator. He failed innumerable times before he was driven, finally, to the discovery of the genius that slept within his brain. Charles Dickens began his pasting labels on blackening pots. The tragedy of his first love penetrated the depth of his soul and converted him into one of the world's truly great authors. Disappointment over love affairs generally has the effect of driving people to drink and ruin. This is because most people never learn the art of transmuting their strongest emotions into dreams of a constructive nature. Helen Keller became deaf, dumb, and blind shortly after birth. Despite her great misfortune, her name is written indelibly in the pages of the history of the great. Her entire life served as evidence that no one is ever defeated until defeat has been accepted as a reality. Robert Burns has an illiterate country lad. He was cursed by poverty and grew up to be a drunkard. The world was made better for his having lived because he clothed beautiful thoughts in poetry. Through by plucking a thorn and planting a rose in its place, Booker T. Washington was born in slavery, handicapped by race and color, because he was tolerant, had an open mind in all times on all subjects, and was a dreamer. He left his impress for good on the entire race. Beethoven was deaf. Milton was blind, but their names will last as long as time endures because they dreamed and transmuted their dreams into organized thoughts. Arnold Schwarzenegger is another person who converted his desire into action and achievement. His first came into the public eye as Mr. Universe, a glorified weightlifter, but Schwarzenegger was not a typical muscle man. He was a man with dreams and goals. He achieved them by becoming a wealthy businessman, one of the highest paid movie stars, and eventually governor of California. Born and raised in Austria as a child, he began training as a weightlifter at age 18. He won his first bodybuilding contest and the first of 5 consecutive Mr. Universe titles. He immigrated to the United States and continued winning similar contests. Although he had accomplished more than any other person In the art of bodybuilding, it was no longer a challenge. He sought other areas where he could use his talents. His training, his physical development taught him that there was a need for knowledge about physical fitness. He had that knowledge and wanted to share it. He wrote an autobiography, Arnold, The Education of a Bodybuilder, which became a bestseller. He followed it with a book on bodybuilding for women, showing females readers how to use weight training to get in shape. This led to the creation of a mail order exercise business and a company to produce bodybuilding events. These businesses started him on the road to business success. His next goal was to become a movie star. Even before he had secured his first movie role, he set himself a goal as big in movies as he was in bodybuilding. After turning down minor roles, his persistence paid off when he was cast as the lead in Conan the Barbarian. This led to a series of action films that made him one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. Success in the movies did not make Schwarzenegger complacent. He set new goals for himself, this time in the world of business. He invested in real estate, created a restaurant chain, became actively involved in another enterprise, and became a multimillionaire. As his success mounted, however, he added what became his dream goal, to serve the community. He traveled around the country to promote health and fitness for youth. He went into the inner cities and inspired the kids to eschew violence and crime, to say no to drugs, guns, and gangs, and yes to education. He has taken an active leadership role in several organizations dedicated to physical fitness and health. In 2003, Schwarzenegger threw his hat into the ring and was overwhelmingly elected as the new governor of California. You can learn much from this man. In setting goals, you are not limited to any one area. Schwarzenegger could have limited his future to bodybuilding and become quite successful, but he dreamed of much, much more, set higher goals, and strove to reach them. He learned from his successes and adapted his knowledge in other aspects of his life. Like Schwarzenegger, do not be discouraged by criticism. Critics belittled his acting ability in his first films, but he was not dissuaded and pursued his goal to become one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. I mean, dead as Arnold was is the man. Arnold's the shit, bro.